Okay, and welcome to Grand Rising Elizabeth. This is what is it? Sacred Tech Wellness with the Social Media Goddess today. My name is Danyelle Claxton, and we actually have a special guest on today, Miss Susan MacDonald, RN, and also VP of Superhat to talk about the subconscious reset. And I'm actually gonna turn it over to my co-host and godmother, Lorraine. I'll be present watching. I'm just not able to actually, what is it, do my show like I normally do for various circumstances. But I love about Elizabeth, we just go with the flow. We keep it moving. And I'm gonna turn it over to Lorraine and Susan and let them do what they do.
Thank you. Um, wow. So this is my very first show co-hosting, and I'm excited to be here. And I'm so excited that Susan is here. I don't know if you guys know Susan. She is a VP at Super Patch. She was one of the very first people that I met when I came on board through my upline, Kim Reeder. Found out she's this amazing nurse practitioner, a walking wealth of knowledge on so many levels. Not to mention that authentically, she's just a beautiful person inside out. And she's caring and sharing, and I'm so excited for her to be here with us today to share the knowledge on this reset because I'm eager to do it. And she's going to tell us how it works and if we have the patches and what we can do. And I am looking forward to all the information you have to share with us. Thank you so much, Susan, for taking time to be here today with us. We
Oh,
appreciate it.
thank you so much, Lorraine. Thank you guys for having me come on. I'm excited to talk about the subconscious reset that I learned from Jay Dollywall, the CEO, inventor, owner of this company. And we were on a webinar. Gosh, it was sometime in 2025. He did an 8-hour webinar one Saturday. And in the mix of this webinar, he starts to talk about the subconscious reset. So I do have I'm an RN. I have of course, a background in many specialties in nursing. I've worked labor and delivery, dermatology, med surg. For the past 11 years, I've done holistic wellness, helping people all over the world get to root cause illness. I believe personally that our bodies have the ability to heal themselves. We just are inundated with so much toxicity in today's world, whether it's coming from fluoride in our water, EMFs from our Wi-Fi and things in our home. We all have it, and you just can't escape it. So it's really important to me to address what's happening and the attacks on our brain. And when I was introduced to this technology a year and a half ago, it was just like, finally, we have something that is going to help us instantly have a guard against the attacks on the brain, whether it's fluoride with the pineal gland or neurotoxicity to the brain. So going back, Jay had this 8-hour seminar. I also have a background in psychology, so this was really interesting to me, right up my alley. And I knew the importance of the subconscious mind because the subconscious mind is what manifests our reality. And we all, if we're honest with ourselves, we can say that there have been times in your life that you've passed someone in passing and you hi, and they didn't recognize you. They didn't look up and say hi or smile back. And as you pass them, the first thing that goes through your mind, what did I do? Did I do something wrong? Why did they not say, why they not, did I, yeah. You're constantly, you have this negative narrative that will go through your mind, like that, immediately taking on that, when you never know what people are going through. Maybe they just got a phone call that someone that they know is diagnosed with cancer. Maybe they just lost someone. Maybe their pet's sick. Maybe they just had a fight with a friend or a spouse. You just don't know what's going on in people's minds. But we automatically, as human beings, take that on. And why do we do that? You know, a lot of that subconscious foundation, according to Jay, I'm not an expert in the brain. A lot of what I'm going to say today is just what was taken from his webinar. Um, a lot of our subconscious is formed from 0 to 6 years old. So when people have had experiences in that time frame where maybe their needs weren't met, um, they they were in a household with a lot of fighting, a lot of moving around, just their basic needs weren't met, or they experienced trauma. And I hate to even admit that this goes on, but we've seen just in a training that we're in, a lot of us are in, um, so many people have experienced sexual assault, molestation as young children. It's more common than it ever should be. So when those type things go on during that time frame, it really
Then no, you will be hiding.
shapes that subconscious mind of that person. And then years later, it's the boyfriends they pick, or the girlfriends they pick, or the lack of self-worth that they may feel. So all those things. So I just wanted to kind of preface this subconscious reset with some of the things that affect us. Now, it doesn't have to be 0 to 6. It could be something that happened during your teenage years or adult years. But that subconscious mind is what manifests our reality. So when we have the ability with this subconscious reset to reset that subconscious and manifest more positive things in our life, it's a beautiful, I mean, this particular exercise is worth its weight in gold. It's worth lots of therapy sessions. What I have used this for, is a lot with people that have gone uh, to war, come back, and having lots of difficulty re-engaging in civilian life. It doesn't have to be that they've gone to war. Maybe they've gone through COVID and they were just scared to death of dying, or maybe they got COVID and they were in the hospital. Maybe they've had a cancer diagnosis, and any of that trauma can be helped and released from the subconscious mind with this reset. So what we know with this reset, you need 4 packs of patches. So when you're teaching this to people that you're talking to, first of all, let me just preface. We do have it's coming out today in our launch app, new language that we're going to have to abide by on social media. So this is not something that you'll put out on Facebook or Instagram. This is something that it's really more of an in-depth. Once people understand the patches and they're using them, you can talk to them about this. Or maybe you know someone that's been through one of the things that I've talked about. You can address this with them privately, personally. You just wouldn't put it out on social media, because I'm going to talk about a lot of things that are not in that general language that we're supposed to use on social media now. It's pretty general and vague. But with that being said, there's 4 patches. Peace is one of them. Peace is for stress. This really focuses on the part of the central nervous system that is fight or flight. This is triggers, like, for all those things that I've talked about. Like, let's say someone was have gone through most of their life, and maybe they were homeless. Maybe they went from living with one family member to another, and they never felt like they had a place to call home. So there's certain things in life that are going to trigger those neurons in their brain and trigger that subconscious mind, and give them negative thoughts and bring their frequency down. So peace, like, one thing for me that was a real trigger was doing bills. Like, every time I sat down to do bills, I'd get this gut feeling in my stomach. Peace has helped me tremendously. When you met me, you wouldn't have said, oh, she's a high stress person, or she's got lots of anxiety, or she needs to be taking a pill every day. I hit it very well. But the problem with that, for those of us that maybe are type A personalities and we're able to hide that very well, it manifests its way inward. So we're working with not only the things that we notice on people outwardly, but inwardly as well. So what happens when it manifests itself inward is it's going to affect your health. And eventually, if you don't deal with it, it will manifest its way in some sort of a disease process. So peace is really an important part of this because it's working on a very important part of the central nervous system. This second patch I'm going to talk about that is part of this quad is joy. So this is working on a part of the neurological pathway that is for optimism, happiness, productivity. So this is going to help people that are feeling down, which most, part of that subconscious mindset can bring a lot of feelings of try not to use non-compliant words, the D word, where you're just feeling really, really down. Joy is a big part of this. Liberty, super important. This is the base patch. So this is going to get I'm not sure. We put a lot of emphasis on this patch with the stability test. This is what we use for the stability test. It does give strength, stability, and balance. We know that, but this patch is so remarkable for what it does. This works on the brain stem part of the brain, and this patch is really remarkable at just kind of an overall reset of the central nervous system, getting that part in homeostasis. So it really does optimize the performance of all the other patches. So this is a really important patch to put on with this reset. And then fourth is Kick It, which this patch is to help the body overcome bad habits and the body's ability to establish good habits. So what this really has helped me with, and I'll tell you what I experienced when I first did the subconscious reset, is brain chatter. So if you're someone that has that negative narrative loop in your mind, that you have certain things that you think about. And one thing to really pay attention to as you're doing this subconscious reset is pay attention to what thoughts go through your mind. Like when you wake up in the morning, you think about your day, what are the thought processes that go through your mind? So this patch is really going to help with the brain chatter. If you're someone that when you lay down to go to bed at night, you can't turn your brain off to relax, to actually go to sleep. You're thinking about all the things you got to do tomorrow, the things you didn't get done today, how you're going to save the world, that sort of thing. This patch really helps with that. So when you combine all four of these patches, and one thing that we need to realize with this company and with this the products that we have is each one does something individually, but combined, when we have the Fabulous Five or this subconscious reset, the combination of resetting all those neurological pathways at the same time is really where you get the beauty of this. So what happens, and we know from an EEG, when you have all three of these on, and I'm going to go through this, it's very, very simple. Go through the steps of how to do it. Is you get your brain waves in the highest state of theta, which is what a lot of people call the billionaire's brainwave. One thing I added, this is just me, Jay didn't say to do this, but when I do the subconscious reset, you want to be somewhere that is quiet. You're not interrupted by the phone's not going to ring, someone's not knocking on the door. You just the same as if you were going to meditate. I went to YouTube and I found theta music, theta frequency. You don't have to do that, but I just wanted to play it in the background. So you start by getting a piece of paper and you write your name backwards. And you'll notice when you first try to do that, it's like someone asking you to say the alphabet backwards. And you're like, oh my gosh, I could never do that. it's kind of hard the first time you do it, but what you're doing is you're getting your brain to switch. You're setting, getting your brain ready for that reset. Similar to when psychologists or therapists tell you to start using your opposite hand to do things. If you brush your teeth with your right hand, start brushing with your left. It's just tricks your brain to reset. So that's the first thing that you do. Jay didn't really say do your first or last name, so I did both. Um, I figure more is better when it comes to like my last name is a lot harder. Susan's pretty easy to write backwards. So you want it to if you have a name like Hannah or Bob, which we don't on here, but you may when you're helping people, that's pretty easy. You're not going to trick your brain by spelling your name backwards because it's spelled the same way frontwards as it is backwards. Anna's another one. So have them do their first and last name. And then you're just going to put all four of these patches on. There's really not an area that you have to put them on. I like just lining them up right above my right across the top of my back. Another good place is right around your belly button. There's a lot of nerve endings there. It sticks pretty well there for me. Now, if you have a lot of bends and in that area of your stomach, you don't want to put it there because you don't want the patch to ever bend and get air in the middle because it has to stay flat. So either, I mean, you can put them anywhere. Those are just places that I like to put them. So you put your patches on, and then you're going to wait 15 minutes. I've heard Jay say this several times. Now we know that there's an instant connection when we do the balance test with people. But I've heard him say on different podcasts about 15 minutes, you really have a strong connection. And I've heard him say that. I think that relates back to the clinical trials as well. So you're gonna wait 15 minutes. At that time, I'm playing the theta frequency music on YouTube in the background. Again, you don't have to. You could just be quiet with yourself. You're gonna sit facing forward, eyes down. Now that's an important part. I don't know the science behind eyes down, but I did take the gentleman that I take care of. I'm sure some of you have seen some of my posts about him. He has intellectual disabilities. I took him for brain training for a long time. And there were certain things that when they were training his brain, the neurons, they were training them to snap quicker and to reconnect. And the longer that you go and do it, they said even though the brain is not a muscle, they said it's like a muscle training where you have like muscle memory. So when he's triggered in the future, his brain is going to snap back to that normal place a lot quicker. So they're training his brain to do that. There were sometimes they would have him, he had to just look down. Sometimes he had to have his eyes closed, and sometimes he could look around. So depending on what part of the brain they were training. So apparently this is important part when you're resetting the subconscious is just to look down. Then you're going to repeat or write positive affirmations for 10 to 15 minutes. And this is the self-talk part. This is telling your brain can't differentiate between reality and what's not. So a good example of that is when you're watching a horror movie and you scream, you know that it's actors in that movie. You know there's cameramen all around, but it still will startle you, even though you know it's not real. So that self-talk part, positive affirmations are so important. It's the easiest thing we can do to help retrain our brain. And you just tell yourself, um, let me pull up some here. I might can let's see. I'd sent some to me. Let me see about something here.
This is so good while you're looking for your stuff, Susan. It's so good. I had a sister that called me, very good friend that has had really some very traumatic stuff. And she's like, I think 77, 78. So you're already dealing with the some dementia or some memory challenges and stuff. And then within the past few years had loss of a loved one, and then being a holistic in the holistic world, very heavy in it. She's had, attacks from those who do not want us to be healed in that manner. And
Uh-huh.
so that's really good information about how to reset. Because you can just say to somebody, oh, just, and it's not that simple when it's
No,
traumatic like that.
it really isn't. And I just put some positive affirmations in the chat. So those are just some ideas. I'm going to give you some other ideas too, but to respond to what you're saying, you know, people can tell you all the time what you need to do, and like it's really simple. And it really isn't, because the brain is so complex. I wish I understood it even more, but it holds on to stuff that, when you dream, think about every morning after, when I wake up, I have very vivid dreams. I like to go over what I dreamt and try to put the pieces of the puzzle together. It's interesting to me when I start dreaming about people from my past, whether it was a high school friend or, um, and I start to think, what is it that I'm supposed to still be learning and to get over or work through? So I'm going to talk to you just a little bit about when I first did the subconscious reset. So right after I heard about it, of course, I'm like ready to do it. I was so excited. Um, there's only been two other times besides the subconscious reset that I've been in a healing modality exercise where my body released. And one was at convention. Mary, you remember? The other was during an exercise where it was an energy. She was called it an energy massage. She was barely touching me. It wasn't myofascial. It wasn't any sort of a regular massage. She was talking through things and barely touching me. And all of a sudden, tears just flowed. That was the first time, and the time that I probably released the most. Tears were flowing from my eyes, and I wasn't feeling anything. I wasn't feeling, normally it's interesting. I think tears in themselves are interesting because they come out whether we're sad, sometimes when we're happy. Have you ever laughed so hard you cried? Um, and so, what is it about the emotion that creates tears? And I don't think scientifically we really understand how tears are even created. I have a brother-in-law that's a eye doctor, and I've asked him before, and he couldn't give me a good answer. So anyway, the tears were flowing, and she said, just let it flow out. And then at convention, when Dr. Patel walked us through that journey of going to the top of the mountain and meeting our our younger self and our future self, and then our younger self, and giving that self a hug and saying, I love you. I mean, that was really emotional for me. And again, wasn't feeling much emotion, but my body was releasing emotion, and I was crying during that time. So a lot of people around me were as well. So when I first did the subconscious reset, the same thing happened. So I'm sitting there doing it, and next thing I know, my face is just really wet with tears just streaming down. Um, so I know for a fact that this works. It releases. What happened to me afterwards? So you keep wearing the patches throughout. I kept for a full month. I continued wearing the 4 patches and doing the affirmations. If you can do them twice a day, it's even better, but at least once a day. If you can do it when you wake up and before you go to bed, those are two really good times to do it, because you're setting the brain up for what's happening while you're sleeping, which is also super important because that is a time. I don't know if you guys know this. I didn't until the past couple of years. When we sleep, the brain literally shrinks just a little bit. It's detoxing. And those sleep cycles that we can benefit with the REM patch are so important for the immune system, for overall health, mental health, physical health, um, emotional health. Because those cycles have a purpose. Every cycle that we go through as we're sleeping has a purpose. So when the brain can detox, and then the subconscious mind, when we dream, we're in that REM state of dreaming, is releasing. So what happened, so interesting to me, the first 2 weeks after doing my first subconscious reset, my dreams were crazy. Not like nightmare crazy, but oh, people from my past, like showing up in my dreams. And yeah, of course, none of it made sense. If I tried to like tell someone the dream the next day, it just sounded like craziness. But my subconscious was releasing. After about 2 weeks, um, I started dreaming about patching people, which makes me laugh because it was just all of a sudden a lot of the garbage from the past had been released, and I was dreaming now about the future or present. Um, so going through that and experiencing that for myself was really, really interesting. Now, what you can when you have all four of these patches on, I would also add this. Jay didn't say to do this. This is me. The REM patch at night, because what you're doing during the day with these four, super, super important. Also at night, because you're not taking them off. But then if you could really get into a good cycle of a good sleep cycle and normalize, even if people say, oh, I don't have issues sleeping, quality of sleep is just as important as quantity of sleep. So if someone says, oh, I sleep 8 hours a night, I don't have any, I don't wake up in the middle of the night, but do you wake up feeling revived and refreshed, or do you wake up kind of groggy? And so that quality of sleep is really important. And if you could talk them into just adding that REM patch, even if they just do it for a month, while they're doing the subconscious reset, make sure that their sleep cycles are really balanced and they're getting quality of sleep. I think it's just going to expedite, optimize is probably a better word, optimize the reset for them. So I like to, I've done it both ways. I've written out the positive affirmations, but I think there's something about speaking. And you'll see in mine, I like to use I am. From my Christian background, I think there's power when we say I am worthy of love and respect. I am capable of achieving my goals. I embrace challenges as opportunities to grow. I'm in control of my thoughts and emotions. I attract positivity and abundance into my life. I am grateful for the good things in my life. I trust in my ability to make great decisions. I am confident in my unique talents and abilities. I forgive myself and others, releasing the past. It's important. I am at peace with who I am. So those are mine. I've also seen people use different Bible verses instead of quoting love is patient, love is kind. They say I am patient, I am kind, and but you can do it however you want, whatever works for you. And what I would do is for yourself and for people that you're helping with this, encourage them to really think about what they want to change in their lives, and if it's a feeling of self-worth that's holding them back, or because we all have different limiting beliefs, and some it's financial, some it's feeling of safety and security, some it's self-worth, some it's all three. It could be lots of different things. So have them kind of explore that as they're making up their positive affirmations, because they want to teach their brain during this reset. You're retraining your brain to manifest those positive affirmations, and then just say them every morning and every night. So just print them out, have them. If you can say them throughout the day, that's the more that you can do it, the better. And just be consistent with it. That's the hardest part that I think we can be consistent putting our patches on. Most of us on here, we do it every day anyway. Um, this initial part of just the reset literally takes 15, or I'm sorry, like 30 minutes. It's very, very easy and simple. And then just be consistent with stating the positive affirmations and putting your patches on every day. And that really is it. And it's powerful. As simple as it is, it's so powerful. So now that's it for how to do the subconscious reset. You can take I've put the reset and my positive affirmations in the chat. You can copy those, have those, and help anyone that I honestly think anybody in this world, if you're 40 and above, maybe even 20 and above. I don't know. This world's so crazy. You could benefit from doing this. There's the thing with these patches and this technology. There's no side effects. There's no harm. There's no risk whatsoever. So if we can just get people to wrap their head around having a better quality of life, whatever age they are, releasing some of these symptoms that they struggle with on a daily basis, whether it's peace, focus, sleep, pain, all of those things. We're helping not only that individual person, but this is really what drives me with this, is we're helping humanity as a whole, because we're teaching whatever age group it is, we're teaching that there's another way to address health and wellness that has no side effects, no contraindications, and it works. And every single person that gets a positive benefit that then tells someone else and tells someone else, eventually we're going to be at a place that Steve Schultz talks about all the time, that people are just going to understand this technology. They're going to be asking you for it. Hey, I saw that you do those patches. I just saw something on that, and I want to try those. It's going to be a part of our health and wellness, and people are going to choose that over uh, a Tylenol for a headache. They'll have Freedom in their cabinet, and it's just going to be normal. Like, I have a headache, I'm going to put a Freedom on. So we are in the beginning of this journey together. I feel each and every one of us have been chosen to be a part of this journey. I think it's so much bigger than Jay, so much bigger than Super Patch, definitely bigger than each individual one of us. This is huge, and we've been chosen to be a part of it. So I thank you all for being on this journey with me. With Super Patch, with Jay, together we can make a huge impact. So now I'm going to open it up, and y'all can ask me questions. Hopefully I'll have answers. And yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Susan. This is Deidre. I just would like to know, is it possible to get the 8-hour talking of Jay? Did Jay did?
I think, Karen, do we have that in Telegram, his webinar?
I didn't understand what the question was. What was it? Sorry.
Jay's webinar, the 8-hour webinar that he did. I thought we had that. I know we have abundance.
8 hours.
Do you remember the webinar he did one Saturday? It was 8 hours. It was a full Saturday. That's where he talked.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think we put that in. No. I mean, do you think it was available? I don't remember it being available even.
I don't think it was, Susan. I don't think it's in Telegram.
No, but I don't think it was even available from memory.
If it is available, Deidre, it will probably be somewhere in that launch app. But
launch.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking back, you're right, Karen and Mary. It was the abundance and prosperity training that he did.
Yeah, that's definitely available.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
You did a better job of describing it anyhow, Susan.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'll tell you guys, I've tried really hard to get more detail on this, because my mind wants all the detail. Like, should we repeat that practice every single day for a month? What's the time frame? And none of that. I asked Steve to ask Jay, recently I sent it to Stanisha because I thought this would have been for her identity shift. This would have been a great tool to do before we all started the identity shift. So I sent it to her. She didn't write me back. I sent it.
Oh, what a shame you didn't ask me. I was right in front of him in Frankfurt with loads of time. I could have asked him.
Oh yeah.
That was a
You did.
pity.
Oh yeah. So I was hoping because I know Stanisha talks to him on a daily basis, and if she was interested, which I how could she not be interested in this? That's what she does. Um, that she might try to get more details and from him. But I'm assuming that it really is as simple as he's explained it to be. If there were any details that we had to do for it to work differently, he would have told us. So yeah, and this gets our brain in the highest state of theta, that similar to what we had from 0 to 6 years old. So as an adult, it's harder to get in that state unless when you're doing the subconscious reset, it puts you in that state. So it's like super interesting to me.
Okay, we're gonna turn it back over to Lorraine, who's our co-host today. And Lorraine, you can then acknowledge the hands that are coming up.
Okay, let me go. If you have questions, if you could put your virtual hands up so I can make sure I do not miss you, that would be very helpful. Um, and we've got our Deidre again. I love you, Deidre, girl. Ask the questions. Come on.
Thank you all. Thank you, and I love you all too. Okay, Susan, I would like to know how your life changed after you did the reset? Did you see any different?
I did. For me, I noticed immediate change in the brain chatter. So for the past 6 years, there have been nights that I would lay in bed till 3 in the morning, sometimes four, trying to solve the world's problems, like worry, stress, worry, like how am I going to protect my family, like during COVID, and how am I going to help other people around the world, and I had such a heaviness. There were some nights that I cried so hard my pillows soaked. Really taking on the world and feeling like I had to have all the answers. So being able to lay down at night and just relax my mind, it's such a sense of peace and relaxation to not have that brain chatter going. And I've redone it since then. I've done it several times, and everybody is going to be a little bit different in your specific needs and what you've been through in your life. And when I started to feel that negative narrative coming back, and part of it is just really paying attention to your thoughts. What
Mm.
what triggers you? What makes you like angry? What makes you resentful? Um, uh, what makes you stressed out? Uh, just being aware of those thoughts, and then when they come into your mind, switching that to something positive.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Wow. Susan, this has just been absolutely, absolutely amazing. And I think we all get that brain chatter. That's a new way of, it's a new term for me. And I'm like, that's exactly what it is, because it goes on without your permission.
Right.
And which is one of the reasons. Is that a lot like when they say be mindful of what you watch on TV before you go to bed, because you're feeding your brain the last thing that you do, then you kind of take that with you and it sets the ground for everything. So my question is there a better time to do this, in the morning or at night when you're going to do the reset with the patches?
Um, Jay didn't mention a time frame that was better. I think either one. When I did it in the morning. It was quiet. I would pick a time that is um a time that you feel the most mindful. Sometimes at the end of the day, we've, especially if you've had a long, stressful day, it might not be the best time for you because you've had a lot going on. So I think in the mornings, personally for me, we've had a good night's rest. Our brain has just reset with dreams and it's a good time to start this. But I think you could do it any time of the day. It's going to work. When you put when you do those steps, it's going to work. But I just think being mindful. I did a class once. It was so interesting. They walked us through mindfulness, and it's so hard to do. It's hard to keep up with on a daily basis. But one thing that we did, I'll never forget. They had us do this session of mindful eating, and when you do mindful eating, it is so incredible because they it made the food so amazing because they talked you through you slowly take a bite and you feel how that food feels in your mouth, on your tongue, you're tasting the sweetness, the salt, whatever. I mean, they're walking you through literally slowly eating your food and being mindful of it. We never do that. Like half the time we're eating on the go and you're not even paying attention to how good it tastes unless you're at a fancy restaurant and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm paying $50 for this piece of meat. I'm going to enjoy it. But for the most part, we're not mindful of things in our daily life. And when you can be, I'm really preaching to the choir here because yeah, I have to tell myself the same thing. But when we can stop, smell the roses. One thing I noticed too is before I did the subconscious reset, there were often times I'd be praying and my mind would start wandering in a million different directions. And then I felt like I had to literally apologize. Okay, I'm back, Lord. Forgive me for that. I don't know where my brain just went. And just trying to be mindful during prayer had gotten to be a task for me. I hate to admit it, but it was true. So I think these patches, two things. One is when you can stop all that stuff we don't really have that's happening without us thinking, that's happening within the central nervous system. When we can kind of calm that down, we can be at one with Christ in our prayer. When we can stop and listen and be more mindful to hear what he's trying to tell us. Oh, so that's when I say this is so much bigger than what we even realize. That's what I mean. I think this is a way for the to affect our brain and our central nervous system and our body in a way that we've never had access to do before. And I think as time moves on and we're able to see the after effects of different combinations of patches and what people start to report after they've used it for a long time, we're going to learn more and more and more and more. And a lot of that stuff are not things that Jay's going to do a clinical trial on, and because he's not going to test things that he can't market. So, for example, certain things with the defend patch and the immune system, there's so many things that patch does, but if he did a clinical trial, and let's say it healed something, he can't market that. So, he's only going to do clinical trials of things that he can actually market and use, because each one of those clinical trials is like $1 million. Is
A
what
lot
I've
of
heard
money.
him
Yeah.
say. So, but there's so much that this technology is doing overall and helping the body to because the body's responding to that correction. and each individual body is going to respond a little bit differently. Like, for example, I've had so many people write to me and say, "Oh, is this supposed to lower blood pressure?" And I'm like, "No, it's not." But I've heard a lot of people have had positive effects with their blood pressure, especially wearing Defend and Liberty together. Now, I don't have blood pressure. I don't have high blood pressure. So when I wear those two together, it's not going to lower my blood pressure lower than it should be. What we have to realize is that this is getting our body into homeostasis. So that's a balance. Homeostasis is where your body is striving to be, and it's a really balanced place. So you're not, so if something is high and it should be lowered to be balanced, it's going to be. If it's low and it should be raised to be balanced, that's how your body is going to respond. So everybody does respond a little bit differently. So, and that's probably why I think eventually we are going to have a patch, according to Jay, that's going to address blood sugar and blood pressure, and one that's going to address DNA modification. He's got a lot of great things up his sleeve to still roll out as far as the patches go. But yeah, amazing
Wow.
stuff we have here.
Wow. Susan, how long have you been with Super Patch?
About 18 months. So this August 31st is the day that I signed up. That'll be 2 years. A little over.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I am just thrilled to have. I feel like it was by fate that I fell on your team,
All right.
especially with my background being in pharmaceutical, and they told me we had a nurse. I'm like, and this information, you as a person providing this for us on an ongoing basis, this is one thing that I'm really going to try. I'm really excited to see what it does with the chatter that goes on. I will say retirement has decreased the chatter by at least 50%. So I'm just like, ooh, now what do I do with the other 50%? We have a hand up. We have Queen Aduni that would like to ask a question. Queen, would you like to go ahead?
Yeah, I wanted to specifically ask Mama Evelyn. I know you've been on pretty much the whole show. Do you see how this may help RJ and what he's going through mentally? Unmute yourself there.
Myself on camera and didn't. Yes, I'm looking forward to being able to help him out with, just teenage stuff, because he's dealing with so many things that I couldn't imagine. I mean, just this past week, his mother, we allow him to take mental days away from school, and one of the teachers was arrested for inappropriate behavior and contact with one of his students. I'm like, oh, great, right there. So he said, I can't, he said he needed to get away from that. So I never imagined dealing with the stuff they deal with. I mean, you have homes that are problematic, and you have not just teachers, but you have other children who are preying on children, and it's like, I never.
Mm-hmm. Does anyone else have a takeaway? I'm sorry, Lorraine. Anyone else got something wherever they were dealing with that this information is a breakthrough for them or that they can use?
Well, I'd just like to say that now that she brought it up, we as adults, we know we deal with life. That's just what you do. But I didn't think about our teenagers, our young adults, our children, with what they deal with. And I think this is really great, and even better spreading it as you're younger and learning how to deal with things as opposed to waiting to get into your 30s or 40s or whatever it may be. So thank you for Evelyn and Queen for bringing that up, because I do have some people I could do that with. Go ahead, Queen.
I just know that, like when like the Sasha Center here in Detroit, where they deal with people who have been raped and stuff, and usually like incest happens when they are children. So, and you don't find out until maybe they're 15, 16, or they're 20 something that it actually comes out. So, that is a wonderful thing that we have the patches that we can help them with once we find out, because then the process begins, once it comes out. But they've been dealing with it in their own way all that time. All that time. You don't know why they want to, commit suicide. You don't know why they're super quiet. You just think that they're quiet. And but sometimes you can see a change in them. You can see a change, or if they're dealing with, yeah, and that would be good for well, I think we're talking about dementia, but ADHD, Susan, that would be helpful for that, you think?
Um, I for attention deficit, I mean, of course, like I said before, that this reset, there's no negative side effect. There's no risk to doing it. So, and what I'll say about our teenagers right now, not only the whole gaming thing, and the reality, the realistic imaging of when, like, the games where they're killing people. There was a game, he's 22 now. He wanted this game. I think it was called Grand Auto Theft. I go into the store to get it, and the guy says, he just looks at me, and thank God he realized I probably am not the mom that would want to buy this for my son. I didn't know anything about it, and I was going to get it, and he goes, "Do you realize what this game has in it?" And I said, "No." And he said, "There's actually where they can go get a prostitute." Like, teaching these young kids about prostitution. I was like, oh my gosh, absolutely not. And then I became very aware of what this gaming is doing to the minds of our kids. But the biggest part is this cognitive dissonance, where they get used to blood, killing people and blood everywhere, and it's very realistic. And then when they see something on the news that young brain does not have the maturity to even accept and watch, such as the murder, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. When they see that, it's just like, oh, that just happened. But seeing what happened should have brought us all to our knees. Like, I mean, to when in our world have we seen someone shot like that on the news, and they showed it? Like, it's just crazy. So back to the teenagers, they don't know how to process that. Mass shootings, they scared that that's going to happen in their school, or maybe whatever it is that what they're having to go through, even during COVID, fear of dying of a virus. I remember, like, one of my earliest, like, real fears was this movie that came out about birds, and I was so afraid of birds coming and taking over. And, like, I had a true I was elementary school. I'm trying to think back the house we were in at the time. I was really fearful. To this day, I remember I exactly where I was sitting when I watched that show on the killer birds. Think about these kids and what their little brains and these teenage brains are having to try to deal with. And that brain is really not mature until their mid to late 20s. And there's a lot of things, processing and things that are happening that should be healthy foundation and formation of the brains, and they're being exposed to things in today's world that they don't even know how to deal with. So, and then you have on top of that the synthetic drugs that are being exposed to, that they can buy in the 7-Eleven. God only knows what's in it, and that's a whole nother thing that huge problem, because they could put rat poison, fentanyl. That's just not controlled. And so many kids. I have my husband's half brother just died in. He's 20 years old. Died in his sleep this year, and the toxicology report came back. He had high amounts of kratom in his system. Now, they said he had a pulmonary embolism. So I don't know if the kratom caused pulmonary embolism, maybe something else he had done. I don't know, but he was a healthy, normal college kid, went to sleep, had been drinking as well. And my father-in-law said, "Oh no, it wasn't anything bad. It's stuff you could buy at the gas station." Anyway, I didn't mean to go off on that. I'm just saying that when we look at our teenagers today, we have to be really mindful that they're living in an age that is very, very, very difficult. They need extra support, extra love, that feeling of security and safety, because they're having to deal with things that a teenager should never have to deal with, and it's outside of our homes. It's what they're seeing at school and what they're seeing on TV, and then the exposure to all sorts of stuff in movies. And you're right. I forget who said it, but like just what, Lorraine, I think it was you, what we're exposed to before we go to bed at night and how that affects the brain. So, anyway, any teenager that has one of you in their lives to help them out, or it's a blessing, because it's a hard time to be a teenager in this world.
It is. Okay, one last question before we end. Evelyn, your hand is up.
Well, it wasn't a question. I also wanted to say that I didn't have any actually, the mother used the patch instead of giving it to her son, which is what I wanted for her to give it to her son, because he has autism and he's very intelligent, but verbalizing his emotions and regulating his emotions. But she took it because she was dealing with him. So he never got to, not yet. But I would just want to say, I think it would help with autism too, especially for those autistic children who can, well, probably all of them, but the ones that will, I really believe that eventually he'll be able to be in society and functioning being, because he's so smart.
I can tell you real quickly, I had a lady locally when I first started with the patches, and I met her for lunch. She was in tears, just distraught. Her autistic son he's 18 at the time, had become very violent. She would literally hide in the closet from him. And when he was a young child having tantrums and being violent, it was controllable. Now he's a grown man, and he scared her. She's this little petite woman. Anyway, started using the patches. That was like, I just started, let's say it was October, December, he had a birthday. She writes me and says, "Susan, I just want to let you know that not only has Alex's life changed, but our whole family. She's no longer afraid. He has not, since he started using the patches, he has not had an outburst. They're going out to eat. She said, "Oh, we got our family back. We got our son back." And it was so hard for her because she loved him so dearly, but she was afraid of him. Like, that's hard for a mom. And anyway, it can be life-changing. So what we used for them was peace, focus, and joy. Well, pretty much the subconscious reset. he was having issues sleeping. A big part of his healing, I believe, was getting good quality sleep. So he was using REM at night as well. But yeah, life changing. And it didn't take months or, even weeks. It happened pretty immediate. So yeah, I think it's a great remedy for symptoms of all sorts of different things, but autism especially when they have outbursts. That Kick It patch does so much, and then Kick It Peace Joy, all the subconscious reset together. It's just powerful. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Susan.
Oh,
I want to thank everyone for being here today and let you know that Elizabeth Rising Elizabeth here every day, Monday through Friday. We have a different show every day, and all of you all are welcome. Mary, Karen, everyone is welcome to come and join at any time. I don't know them by heart, but one I do know is that on Tuesdays, Deidre does everything on health and wellness, which is right up our alley, which is what we do. And I know that Wednesdays is Madam Finance, and she has everything from trusts to stocks to this to that on a regular basis, on a layman basis, breaking it down so that even some of us who have no idea what it is can understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Thursdays we have
Art and creativity with Mama Jacqueline.
There you go. See, Mom, I haven't caught your show yet. That's on me, but I will. And then Fridays, of course, is Passion and Purpose with our all one and only Queen Aduni. And I am now officially her co-host.
Yay!
And I'm so excited about it. And so I'll be starting off supposedly one Friday a month, and we'll see how that goes. But this is my passion, and being asked to step in at the last minute was daunting at first, and it's like, oh, I can do this. You don't have to do anything. You just be you. You're good enough. So all those little affirmations that you have, Susan, I really do those. They really do work. So I can only imagine what's going to happen with the patches to do them at the same time.
I can't wait to hear back from everyone once you've done it and you feel the change. I can't wait to hear back and hear everyone's success stories.
Yes, please, let's do that. Where would you like us to, how would you like us to communicate to you our success stories?
Oh, we can do it just in the Detroit thread if you want, or we can hop back on sometime, however you want to do it. But
that's a great
the Detroit
idea.
thread is great. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Queen, how do we do this? I don't know.
Danyelle, you want to close us out?
Okay. What we do, and thank you so much for Lorraine for jumping in at the last minute. That's just what we do. This is how we roll. But we're gonna go ahead and give ourselves a hug. Give ourselves a big hug. Give the world a hug, and thank you so much, Susan. Especially for those of us that's heading to Houston this weekend. That would be a great Friday morning. That would be a great Friday morning exercise to do. Yeah.
Yes.
And then also, if you don't have your patches, if you haven't ordered the patches that Susan mentioned, you want to go ahead and order them today so you can get them by the midweek and actually do your subconscious reset or and assist others. And we'll sprinkle the world with goodness and joy. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so much,
everyone.
Susan.
All right.
Everyone have a
Bye.
blessed day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Guys, peace.